because it heard the silence in the heart. Its destiny was daring from the start, beginning with the searching eye whose gleam envisioned newer worlds for his kind. It gathered to a great crusading force whose faithful followers held high the torch for fireworks and all the world to see. NTID, its time and tide had come to integrate the hearing and the deaf in kindred studies on the common campus, each learning from the other and awareness of unfulfilled needs, of human needs, of unfulfilled desires, of breaching that divisive wall of silence and bridging the communication gap. And that became the challenge and the charge to mingle with the mainstream and to master their little fears, their hang-ups and prejudgments, not to be little, but be big of heart. And from the experience in the vestibule, where stand the many ports of destiny, embark upon their chosen odyssey. Meaning so many things to these our people. Today we pause to dedicate anew the dreamers and the dream they kept alive, the spirit and the spur of new frontiers, promise of the great society, our open sesame at NTID.
Beautiful.
That was beautiful. Good morning. And on behalf of myself and my wife, Judy, welcome to this very special day. The video you just watched was Professor Emeritus Robert Panera performing his own poem, NTID. It was during RIT President Albert Simone's inauguration in 1993. Panera was an amazing man, and what a touching thing to see him again today. I'd like us to pause and recognize that we're rededicating ourselves to RIT NTID's mission. Before we get started, I would like to introduce and welcome our very special guests. With us today, we have a very special guest, Lucinda Robb. Lucinda's grandfather was President Lyndon Baines Johnson, who signed Public Law 8936, establishing NTID. President Johnson had a lifelong connection to deafness through his childhood neighbor and good friend Homer Thornberry, whose parents were deaf. As a child, President Johnson learned fingerspelling to communicate with Thornberry's parents. When President Johnson was elected to the U.S. Senate, Thornberry was elected to his congressional seat. And later, his wife Eloise was appointed by President Johnson to keep him updated on NTID's progress. In 1974, Lucinda's grandmother, Lady Bird Johnson, attended the dedication of NTID, as well as LBJ Hall. This is Building 60, the building we're all in together today. We are so honored to have you here with us to celebrate 50 years of NTID and to celebrate the foresight and leadership of your grandfather and members of Congress to establish this great college. Lucinda will be presenting later in the program. Thank you so much for being here. At this time, I'd like to ask my colleagues in the RIT administration and members of the RIT Board of Trustees who are in attendance to stand and be recognized. We have with us today Trustee Frank Sklarski here on stage. He'll be sharing some thoughts later in the program. Thank you, Frank, and all of you for coming. We are pleased to have NTID President Emeritus Alan Hurwitz and his wife Vicki, along with NTI Dean Emeritus. We have with us several superintendents of New York State Schools for the Deaf and other leaders in deaf education and the deaf community. Please stand and be recognized now. Thank you for your leadership and for your commitment to deaf education. Next, we have our National Advisory Group, who assist us in developing our strategic planning for the institution. They arrived yesterday for their spring meeting. Brianne Berger, NTID's project liaison from the U.S. Department of Education, is here as well. Could our NAG members please stand and be recognized? NAG Chair Dr. Chris Leifelt. He'll be presenting later in the program, sharing with us this morning. Our foundation and alumni board members are meeting next week, and we're very excited for what they provide for us. The members who are here from that group represented on stage are Bob Sedansky, and Bob is also an NAG member. He'll be presenting in today's program as well. I'd like to ask any members of the audience who are retired NTID faculty or staff to please stand for recognition. I'd like to ask current faculty and staff who are in the audience to please stand for recognition as well. I'd like to recognize the government officials and staff who are able to join us today. I'd like you to hold your applause until we've recognized everyone present with us today. We're thrilled to welcome back to NTID Lieutenant Governor for New York, Kathy Hochul. What a special honor it is to have you here with us today, Lieutenant Governor. We're also honored to have with us Congressman Joe Morelli. We're honored to have from Senator Schumer's office, Sarah Clark. She's representing Senator Kirsten Gillibrand's office. Senator Gillibrand is busy with a schedule of meetings in D.C. and was not able to join us in person today. We need to stop, appreciate, and remember Louise Slaughter, who passed away last year. She was a cherished friend of NTID for many years. And we will forever appreciate her support provided to us over her tenure. We're glad to have officials from the state with us today. Ellie Gustafson from State Senator Richard Funke's office. She brought with her a proclamation from the senator that we will share later in the program. And Phyllis Wickerham is here on behalf of State Senator Patrick Gallivan. And we have our good friend, State Senator Joe Robach, with us. We're honored to have New York State Assemblyman Peter Lawrence, Monroe County Legislator Steve Brew, and Henrietta Town Supervisor Steve Schultz. Thank you for coming. Go Tigers. If you could all please stand to be recognized. This summer, we celebrated our 50th anniversary of NTID. We had here almost 4,000 alumni. It was a time when we accepted congratulations from many individuals. Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, Congresswoman Slaughter, Governor Cuomo, State Senator Gallivan, Assemblymember Harry Bronson, Monroe County Executive Cheryl D'Onofrio, Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren, Supervisor Schultz. We thank all of you for your kind words of support during that celebration. Now I'd like to ask everyone to stand as we invite senior faculty member Thomas Warfield and Jacob Schwall, a new media design major from Fishers, Indiana, as they perform the Star-Spangled Banner. Please stand.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
So inspiring, so touching. It's now my pleasure to invite Frank Sklarski to the podium. Frank is a retired executive of ConAgra, Kodak, Tyco, and PPG. He's a valued member of the RIT Board of Trustees and will share his recollections of the dedication of NTID in 1974.
Thank you, Dr. Buckley, or Jerry as I typically know you. And Thomas and Jacob, what a breathtaking rendition of our national anthem. That was spectacular. Well, welcome everyone, a very warm welcome, and a thank you to everyone here in attendance today. And hearty congratulations on this tremendous milestone event for both RIT and our beloved National Technical Institute for the Deaf. RIT President David Munson is unable to be with us today, and for good reason. His son is getting married. I guess that's okay. But he sends along his greetings and best wishes on this momentous and special day. I'm also pleased to share special congratulations and greetings on behalf of my fellow members of RIT's Board of Trustees. We as trustees treasure the national and international recognition that NTID has gained in its own right and has also brought to RIT, and are grateful for the role NTID continues to play in making our university a world-class institution. NTID is truly a brilliant jewel in the RIT family crown and a source of inspiration and pride for all of us. For my own part, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today, to be present at this rededication of NTID, as I was fortunate enough to attend NTID's original dedication. As I vividly recall, it was a cool, drizzly day in the fall of 1974, October 5th, 1974 to be exact. I was only 17 years old and had recently arrived as a new freshman on what was at the time a relatively new campus, which included even newer buildings as part of this beautiful NTID complex. We were all so excited to see the visiting dignitaries, including most notably the former First Lady of the United States, Lady Bird Johnson. And we are so excited to have the former President and First Lady's granddaughter, Ms. Lucinda Robb, in attendance with us today. Thank you so much for being here. We are incredibly honored and grateful that you were able to share this occasion with us. I recall with great fondness some very specific words uttered by Mrs. Johnson herself on that day so many years ago. She said in that wonderful Southern drawl of hers, "Lyndon would have loved this day." As we know, he could not be there with her, as sadly he had passed away the year before. I do remember, however, thinking at the time that being from Texas, he probably would not have loved the weather that day. But surely he would have relished witnessing the culmination of the efforts resulting from the act he signed into law just 9 years before. Now on the 50th anniversary of the first class of NTID, and close to 45 years since the first dedication ceremony, we stand here with pride in what a remarkable institution NTID has become. More importantly, we are eternally grateful and thankful for what NTID and its dedicated faculty, staff, administration, and the students themselves have accomplished in helping so many people build their lives, reach their full potential, and quite simply, in helping to make the world a better place. So I wish you all the very best, and even more continued success for the next 50 years and beyond. And as Lady Bird Johnson so eloquently stated so many years ago, and as I'm sure his granddaughter would agree, Lyndon, or more appropriately, President Lyndon Baines Johnson, for whom this magnificent hall is named, would certainly have loved this day. How wonderful a date it is, and how fortunate we all are to be part of this great legacy and this epic journey. Congratulations, go Tigers, and go NTID. Now I'd like to introduce Bob Sedansky, retired administrator of student services at California State University at Northridge, a fellow alumnus, and a member of NTID Alumni Association Board of Directors. Bob will share his thoughts and memories of the original dedication. Bob?
Good morning, everyone. After 45 years, I am happy that I am still healthy enough to be here with you today to share this precious moment. I was involved as an NTID student in NSC at the time of the dedication of the LBJ Hall. That was 1972, and I graduated and left it in 77. I had an amazing opportunity to develop my personal and leadership skills, which gave me a strong foundation of lifetime education. I want to thank the administrators, professors, faculty, staff, and my peers who supported me throughout my college years while I was here at NTID. Lady Bird Johnson is also another person who taught me something, and I will share that story with you now. I first met Lady Bird Johnson at the dining commons around noon. It was the NTID dedication day. Dr. Frazina, who was NTID's first director at that time, introduced me to her, and he said, "This is Robert Sedansky, who is the president of the NTID Student Congress." And she replied, "It is a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Robert Sedansky." We left with a crowd of VIPs and with her U.S. Secret Service detail for a tour around Lyndon Baines Johnson Hall. As we walked around the building, it took a few hours to tour the entire building, and we would pause here and there and have discussions about my educational background, my experience growing up, and the experience of students here at RIT. I told her about my experiences of using outstanding services from NTID, such as interpreting, note-taking, tutoring, and support from the faculty and staff. If you could point. After the tour, Lady Bird Johnson planted a tree in the front of Lyndon Baines Johnson Hall in honor of our president. She walked toward the main entrance of LBJ, and before she went in, I handed her the guest book. She was the first person to sign NTID's guest book. You can see the picture of Lady Bird Johnson and me at the entrance of the building. That's me. I look the same, don't I? The only difference is age, that's all. So after that picture was taken, she had signed the guest book, shook everybody's hand. She turned to me and she said, "It was great meeting you." "Thank you, Bob." She signed, "Thank you." And I understood what she said. It was very easy to lip read her. I was shocked, in awe that she remembered my name. And she even used my nickname, Bob, instead of Robert. I was very impressed. With her brief visit here, that taught me the importance of recognizing individuals' names as a necessity to become a good leader. she remembered my name, and that inspired me, and I wanted to inspire other people myself. I try very hard to memorize people's names and show respect in my leadership roles throughout my career. After that, I had several conversations with other individuals, and we were amazed with Lady Bird Johnson's photographic memory of everyone's name she had met that day. By the way, I want to say that LBJ is one of my favorite presidents because he was able to work cooperatively with the House of Representatives and senators. He worked tirelessly to pass laws to improve the domestic needs of the American people. Thanks to LBJ, he established Great Society programs, and he helped pass several laws that enforced civil rights, the Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, Social Security Act, which is Medicare, and finally, Public Law 8936, which was officially called the National Technical Institute for the Deaf Act. We are proud and honored that NTID was one of LBJ's Great Society programs. And we named our building after President Johnson, which is perfect, really. We continue to promote the education of deaf and hard of hearing people to meet the vision for generations to come. Now, we'd like to share with you a short video of the history of NTID.
Established by an act of Congress and signed into law by President Lyndon Baines Johnson, the National Technical Institute for the Deaf is the world's first and largest technological college for deaf and hard of hearing students. With the first class of 70 students entering in 1968, founding director D. Robert Frazina assembled a faculty and staff who were eager to join what Frazina called the Grand Experiment. In October 1974, Mrs. Lady Bird Johnson came to the NTID campus to formally dedicate the college and the building named for her late husband.
I'm grateful for having shared it, and I wish all of you out there, every one of the 169 of last year and all the ongoing years, success and happiness.
Throughout the college's history, NTID has been, as Central Institute for the Deaf Director S. Richard Silverman stated, a lustrous beacon that will illuminate the hearts of all who come to be served here. Since the grand experiment that is NTID began, the college has been at the forefront of educational opportunities with more than 8,500 alumni who live and work across the country and around the world in fields such as business, manufacturing, the arts, medicine, and more. Last summer, NTID celebrated its 50th anniversary reunion with more than 3,500 alumni, families, and friends coming home to campus to reflect and celebrate on their personal achievements as well as the success of the college itself. As we gather to rededicate NTID, we look back with pride in the rich history of its beginnings and look forward to the bright future of the college for the next 50 years and beyond.
It is my pleasure to welcome Lucinda Robb to campus today. Lucinda worked for 15 years at the Teaching Company, where she was director of recruiting and advised world-class professors on how to give better lectures. Prior to that, she worked for the Center for Legislative Archives at the National Archives, serving as project director for exhibits and educational outreach projects, ranging from the presidency of Thomas Jefferson to women's petitions to Congress. She currently is writing a book on the tactics of the women's suffrage movement. And occasionally she writes book reviews for the Washington Post. She is a director on the board of the National Archives Foundation, the Arlington, Virginia, the Food Assistance Center, and Communities in Schools, NOVA. In 2016, she started Kids Giving, a project to teach children philanthropy. Lucinda, we are thrilled to welcome you and share with you the affection and admiration we have for both of your grandparents. As you can see here today, the legacy of your grandfather does not only appear in history books. Please welcome Lucinda Robb to the podium.
I want to apologize first to the interpreters because I'm not giving the remarks that I want to speak from my heart. I want to say thank you so much for the incredibly warm welcome that I have received here. And thank you so much for the kind things you said about my grandmother. I very much recognize her in what you have said. And it is absolutely true. My grandparents would have loved to have been here today. And in particular, my grandfather would have loved it for 3 reasons. He would have loved it first because he cared so much about education. He was known for civil rights and the Great Society and the war on poverty in Vietnam. But his first job, and the one that influenced the course of the rest of his life, was as an educator. And so he believed that education meant everything in giving us the ability to be the best people we can be. He would have loved being here also because he believed in what government can do. And he would have been thrilled, but he never would have expected the success, the incredible success that you've had here. This is amazing. He would say, let's have other people come and study what you're able to do so we can learn. And finally, he would have been glad to be here because, to be completely honest with you, he did appreciate it when people named things after him. Now, my family, more than one staffer, when he was in office and later on, would name their children Lyndon, their son, and he would traditionally give them a steer. I don't think you need cattle Longhorn up here. But there was one other thing that he did love to give. And as you may have seen in the video in the stained glass, he particularly loved to give pens. And one of the pens that signed NTID's act is here today. I just saw it a few minutes ago. But I brought another pen for you. And when my grandfather left office and went back to the ranch, when he had special visitors come, he loved to give them pens with his name on it. And after he died, the family saved a box of them, and we've been giving them away, the few remaining ones we have, to things that we think are truly, truly special. Now, I have to tell you, this pen is old, It has ink cartridges you have to load into it. It's that old a pen. Hopefully it still works. But I would like to give it to you here today, Jerry. And you can actually use it. You don't have to put it in an archival box. As a thank you for what you've done.
Thank you.
Oops. And now I will go back to the regular remarks. I'm pleased to unveil the prototype of a plaque that will hang next to the one honoring my grandfather right outside this theater, rededicating NTID, embracing the past, and looking forward to the future.
Thank you again, Lucinda, for being with us today and for helping to honor your grandparents and NTID in this way. Now I'd like to welcome to the podium Western New York's own Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul. The Lieutenant Governor first came to the NTID campus as a member of Congress back in 2011. She is a tremendous supporter of the deaf community. She authored legislation that would require mobile service providers to notify individuals when texting 911 was not available. We're honored to have you back. Welcome, Lieutenant Governor Hochul.
Thank you so much, Dr. Buckley, and I'm sorry I don't have a pen to give you, but perhaps we can make up for that with some more state resources. Would that be okay? I am so delighted. First of all, yes, that was a beautiful rendition of our beautiful Star-Spangled Banner, which I hear often, but today it had a special resonance to me to be shared with us by Jacob and Thomas. So I will not forget how beautiful it made me feel as an American citizen hearing how beautiful they delivered that song. And to Frank, to talk about your recollection as a student here, but particularly Bob, I truly enjoyed your very personal account, and what a phenomenal memory you have to remember that encounter. But I guess it's something that any young person would treasure, the opportunity to meet a legend, to meet the First Lady, who will always be in our hearts, our First Lady, because she was the First Lady when I first became really aware of who our president was and how much that mattered. Who was in the White House really makes a difference in our lives. And it also reminded me of a connection I had that when I was 10 years old in 1968, I heard on the radio that our president, Lyndon Johnson, also had a birthday on the same day, except he was 50 years older than me. So I've always thought I'll have this generational connection to the Johnson family. But to have Lucinda here, and her name now will be enshrined on this beautiful plaque, and it is my hope that her children will come someday, and perhaps in 50 years as we rededicate on the 100th anniversary of this, and during that time, how many more individuals' lives will have been made better because they found their way into the LGBA NTID building. And I'm going to guess it's going to be an incredible number of individuals, because this is an institution with its beautiful alliance, its marriage with RIT, that sends people out into the world prepared to accept life's challenges, but not just to better their own lives, but truly to better the lives of others, in that legacy of the Johnson family and how they made a profound difference generation by generation until it continues today with your presence here, Lucinda. So this is an impactful day for me as well. I go to many events, but to be part of making history here, to recreate the experience of when Lady Bird Johnson literally came here physically, because it was so important that we talk about how we create an opportunity for individuals who have been left behind in society. And now to say you are equal, you are entitled to an equally incredible education right here in this place. And what a lesson that was to others in other communities to say, yes, they made it in Rochester, we can do that in our own communities as well. So I'm so proud to represent a state on behalf of Governor Cuomo and 20 million New Yorkers to say that the very first NTID happened in our state after a competition that occurred in the late 60s. And we did have some advocates in Washington, soon to be governor, but then Congressman Hugh Carey also fought for this to make sure that we won out over other states. And so we love a good competition here in New York. We tend to always win. We're proud of that legacy. But I just want you to know how proud I am to know that Dr. Buckley, you and the incredible professors, teachers, family members, support system here are launching the next generation of leaders. And I am so excited to have that opportunity to work with them. I know that 97% of one of the most recent graduating classes is fully employed. I don't know any other institution that can top that record, but to know that half of those individuals are engaged in businesses right here in Western New York as we see this rebirth of an area that had been neglected most of my life. For the last 50 years, upstate New York was heading downhill. And ladies and gentlemen, now we are back. And we are being led by great institutions like RIT and NTID, and it happens all here. So congratulations on this amazing milestone, and I look forward to continuing our close relationship going on in the years ahead. So thank you very much, everyone involved, and again, congratulations, and go Tigers.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Hochul. NTID is very fortunate to have two senators who lead on national issues, but never forget the importance of programs and people in their home state. Senator Chuck Schumer is a great friend of RIT and NTID and is a staunch supporter of federal funding for our college. With the Senate in session, he was unable to join us today, but he sent us this special message.
Hi, everybody. While I wish I could be with you in person to celebrate this great milestone, I'm sure with you in spirit. Congratulations to all of the staff and students and alumni of the Rochester Institute of Technology's National Technical Institute for the Deaf as you celebrate an amazing 50 years. What better way to celebrate this occasion than to rededicate this space to the great Lyndon B. Johnson, who worked to pass the law in 1965, establishing NTID. You may not know this, but I have 4 photos of famous political figures in my Senate office. Only one is not a New Yorker, President Johnson. I'm so proud that NTID has become one of the great American institutes, educating our students for the 21st century economy. The Rochester region in particular has been enriched thanks to NTID's contributions and graduates, many of whom stay in Rochester to live, work, and create new businesses that propel our region's economy forward. Your success is remarkable. I share President Johnson's belief that access to affordable education and resources for individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing is essential, and I'm committed to increasing federal support for NTID. We've raised federal funding levels over the last 4 consecutive years, and I will push each year so that NTID will have more support so you can do even more good. I thank all of you who have helped NTID provide world-class education for the past 50 years, and I look forward to working together to continue your extraordinary growth and success. God bless.
We'd like to thank the Senator for all his support, and we thank his staff member, Amber, for being here. Thank you. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand has also been a tremendous advocate for NTID, our funding, and our students. Though she cannot attend due to the Senate's schedule, I'm pleased to invite Sarah Clark, her Deputy State Director, to share a letter from the Senator. Sarah?
Hello, I am so privileged to have this opportunity to lend my boss's support to this great event. So without further ado, I will read her letter. Dear friends, it is a privilege to send greetings to everyone attending the National Technical Institute of the Deaf's rededication of the Lyndon Baines Johnson Hall here today at RIT. Although I am not with you in person, I join you in spirit to celebrate this remarkable anniversary, to honor the extraordinary efforts of the founding members of NTID, and to recommit ourselves to the mission of this incredible institution for the next 50 years. More than 50 years ago, 44 deaf men and 26 deaf women arrived at RIT and became the charter class of NTID. Since then, the program has prepared more than 8,000 graduates for the workforce. NTID uses innovative strategies and solutions that address the communication barriers facing students, staff, and faculty who are deaf or hard of hearing. I have seen firsthand the excellent and high-quality education each NTI student receives by having had 3 interns from NTID in my Washington, Long Island, and Rochester offices. NTID has empowered deaf and hard of hearing people to make history and to change our communities for the better. By establishing new innovation and entrepreneurship opportunities, along with new outreach initiatives like the Rochester Bridges to the Doctorates program, I know NTID will continue to educate, employ, and embolden deaf and hard of hearing leaders for years to come. I send my best wishes for a wonderful event and many more years of continued success. Sincerely, Kirsten Gillibrand, United States Senator. Thank you, and we look forward to supporting NTID every year, federal funding, beyond. We can't wait to continue our push this year and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And please extend our warmest thanks to Senator Gillibrand for all of her support. Congressman Joe Morelli has been a good friend to NTID, RIT, and the Rochester community for many, many years as a state legislator. And as an assemblyman, he sponsored legislation that would require private insurers to cover the cost of hearing aids. He worked to advance legislation that would improve communication between deaf motorists and police at traffic stops. And he announced enhancements for members of our deaf-blind community right here at NTID. We are very fortunate to now have his leadership and support as our U.S. representative. He truly hit the ground running in this new role. You have to join his Facebook page and friend him and see all of his travels. He's doing amazing work. We also happen to have the same favorite baseball team, St. Louis Cardinals. Go Cardinals. Welcome, Joe.
Good morning. It's a privilege to be with you on this exciting day. And in a world where I think too often we think about our challenges, our troubles, the things that divide us, it's so important to celebrate the amazing things that still happen in America, and this is an amazing thing. So this is such a great day to be here, and everyone should be so proud to celebrate the extraordinary success and the excellence of NTID for 50 years. I want to start by thanking Jerry, who's a longtime friend, and I don't think I've ever seen Jerry Buckley when he doesn't have a smile on his face. He is upbeat, he's enthusiastic, he's inspired, he's inspiring. He's a great friend, and he also happens to be a great baseball fan. So he's a good guy all the way around, and I want to thank him and his staff for the incredible leadership at NTID. I was going to note a little bit of history. First of all, a big thank you to Lucinda Robb for coming to the campus today. Her family has a long history, as we've noted, of support for this institution. And like Senator Schumer, I am a huge fan of Lyndon Baines Johnson. Because at a time today when it seems so difficult to get people together to collaborate and to compromise and to accomplish important things, Lyndon Johnson has a list of accomplishments from the time he entered the United States House of Representatives until he left the White House, one of the truly great legacies in American history. My friend Debbie Stendardi, who does government affairs, the vice president here at RIT and NTID, often talk. We've shared the 4 volumes of Robert Caro's extensive biography on President Johnson. We're waiting for a 5th volume. And I warn you, if you haven't read them, they're each about 1,000 pages long, so they are not for the faint of heart. But he was an extraordinary leader who accomplished so many things, and I just want to thank Lucinda for being here. We talked about her children coming here in 50 years, but she and I just made a pledge. We're both going to be here to celebrate 50 years from now, so count on that. I do want to note, just for the historical record, it's been mentioned here earlier, that this began with a bill in the House of Representatives by then Congressman Hugh Carey from Brooklyn, who then became the governor of the state of New York from 1974 to 1982. Was also sponsored in the United States Senate by a senator by the name of Lister Hill from Alabama. So they were the ones who passed the legislation that President Johnson was able to sign. And I think in a nod to how important this was, it's not located in either Brooklyn or Alabama. It's located in Rochester, New York. And that's because the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare had a competition to determine which campus and which college would be best to host the NTID. And, of course, RIT won, which says a lot about the culture at RIT, even 50 years ago, that this campus would be selected among so many that applied to become the National Center for Technical Education for the Deaf and the Hard of Hearing. And this created a national advisory group whose main purpose was to create this institute, and was selected here, and we know the history since then. But it's great to note that years ago, the House, the Senate, and the President actually did work together and get things done. We need to have more of that in Washington now, not less of that. And I want to thank, obviously, my predecessor, Louise Slaughter, who was so committed to NTID, so committed to the Rochester region. I have the privilege of serving in the House Rules Committee, where Louise served as the only woman to chair that committee and served in the House Rules Committee for many years. And just to let you know that I never forget the influence of Louise Slaughter, every week when I'm in the hearing room in the House Rules Committee, there is a giant portrait that hangs on the wall that looks down on me and her smiling face as a reminder not to mess anything up as her successor. So Louise is always very much in my heart, and I know in our heart and in spirit here today as well. I want to thank my other government partners, the great Lieutenant Governor of the state of New York, my longtime friend Kathy Hochul, and the representatives from Senator Schumer's office, Senator Gillibrand's office, Senator Robach. My longtime friend in Albany is here as well. But I just want to say how proud I am to represent incredible institutions like RIT and NTID. I've had a long association with both. This is the first time they're actually in my district, so I'm really happy about that. But they are changing the world for the better and helping to make Rochester the gold standard with a diverse, innovative, and inclusive community and what it looks like to the world. And I am so very proud of that. And I just note parenthetically that you think about how forward-looking this was with technical education and careers and STEM courses and all the things that are going on in innovation in this world. And unfortunately, the need to continue to invest more in science or to have to persuade people to invest more in science. You would think everyone would agree on that, but that's not the case necessarily in Washington. But those of us are fighting very hard to have greater investments because that's our future. Whether it's our allies or adversaries around the world are investing in science, investing in technology, investing in innovation, we need to do that. And this is an amazing institution to do that, and so forward-thinking that 50 years ago we were able to do that. So in honor of the 50th anniversary, I was delighted to continue the history of my predecessors by taking congressional action to support NTID by submitting a statement to the Congressional Record celebrating and memorializing NTID's accomplishments. I think I have somewhere, Jerry, framed, where is it? Ah, here we go. I need someone to tell me what to do. So if I could ask Jerry to come up. This is the congressional record, a framed copy of the statement that we made to make sure that we honor the many incredible accomplishments of NTID and RIT. And I wanted to present this to Jerry, not only congratulate him on his first 50 years, but to wish him all the very best as we go forward for the next 50 and 50 more beyond that. So God bless you, and thank you all so very much.
Thank you so much, Congressman Morelli. Now you see why it's wonderful to have a congressman like Joe Morelli representing and supporting us. We're also fortunate to have a proclamation from New York State Senator Rich Funke with us on this special day. The proclamation is entitled, Celebrating the 50th Anniversary of the National Technical Institute for the Deaf. And I'd like to share some of it with you now. Whereas it is in the sense of the citizens of the 55th District to recognize and pay tribute to organizations and individuals in our community who offer programs and advocacy of great significance and whose excellent services and commitment have far-reaching effects that can be felt by individuals and families throughout our region. And whereas the National Technical Institute for the Deaf is one such organization that has provided deaf and hard of hearing students with tools to advance their education, and now, therefore be it proclaimed that I, New York State Senator Rich Funke, hereby recognize the remarkable and commendable work of the National Technical Institute for the Deaf and their 50th anniversary. We thank Senator Funke for his kind words, and thank you to his staff member, Ellie, for coming today. Thank you all again to our government officials and representatives for these special remarks and recognition that NTID will treasure for years to come. Today, they are part of this ceremony. Tomorrow, they are part of our history. We're very proud of our history here at NTID. For instance, NTID has been a pioneer in accessibility to the performing arts. For nearly 50 years, NTID's Performing Arts program has been delighting deaf and hard of hearing audiences alike. In fact, behind this screen is the set for the upcoming production of August Wilson's award-winning play, Fences, which runs April 11th to the 14th. We hope you come and watch that show. Another performing arts tradition is NTID's traveling theater troupe, Sunshine 2, which began in the 1980s. And they provided educational and entertaining productions to audiences across the country. They teach about deaf culture, STEM, and the deaf community. We are pleased to welcome our group, Sunshine 2.0, with us to perform. Welcoming to the stage Shion Cook, Gerald Creer, Hayden Orr, Ren Putz, and director alumnus Fred Michael Beam, the company of Sunshine 2.0. They'll be touring in Louisiana and Washington, D.C., and some other southeastern states. We're proud of the message of positivity and inclusivity you bring to each performance. I'm pleased now to introduce Dr. Christopher Leifelt, Chair of NTID's National Advisory Group. Originally from Washington, D.C., Chris is a dentist working in private practice in Rochester and at 2 community health centers for underserved communities, providing dental treatment for migrant farm workers and their families. Across Western New York, bringing portable dental equipment to sites such as Head Start centers, church basements, and more. He has served on the board for the Rochester School for the Deaf, along with other volunteer boards. Welcome to the podium, Dr. Chris Leifelt.
Thank you so much, Lucinda, for coming here. I just have such fond affection for your family and for President LBJ and Lady Bird Johnson. As chairperson of NTID's advisory group, I am proud to be here today to continue the tradition of NAG that began more than 50 years ago when NTID was established to help formulate and carry out the basic policies governing NTID's establishment and operation. Since that time, NTID and NAG have worked together. We have worked together to benefit the college and our students. We're so very fortunate to have 2 leaders with us today who represent NTID students. Taylor Rapetsky, she is a 4th-year interdisciplinary studies major with concentrations in communication, visual culture, and she hails from Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. She is serving as our current president of NTID Students Congress, where Bob Sedansky stood in 1974. Taylor now stands and leads us today. Now I'd like to introduce Bobby Moakley. He's an environmental science major from East Falmouth, Massachusetts, who is also a dual degree program pursuing his master's degree in science, technology, and public policy. Bobby is the 3rd deaf or hard of hearing student to serve as the president of RIT's student government. He has made a positive impact on the entire RIT student body with his leadership. Bobby and Taylor.
Thank you, and thank you all for being here today. We, the newest generation of RIT and NTID Tigers, are dedicated to honoring the legacy of the past 50 years, while at the same time blazing our own trail for the future of the college. To honor the next 50 years, we, along with the other NTID staff, faculty, and administrative leaders, have written letters to be shared within the NTID community at the 100th anniversary. I'd like to share a few sentiments in my letter to future students and leaders of the college. As RIT's 3rd Deaf Student Government President, I am thrilled to reflect on what we have accomplished and what is to come. RIT and NTID is an extremely unique environment in that we are leading in the integration of the deaf, hard of hearing, and hearing communities. Every day at your university is a learning experience for everyone here. Here, I have seen more people learn ASL and deaf culture than anywhere else. On any given day, you see people signing, wearing cochlear implants, hearing aids, or using other forms of support in our campus. You would not see this at any other university in the nation. Recognizing this has made me realize how lucky we are to have an institution like NTID that is advancing the deaf world. NTID has been and will continue to be a place of creativity enabling deaf students to succeed in the classroom and beyond. One by one, our students have created new places for deaf people in the technology, medical, educational, scientific, engineering, and other fields. Without NTID, the world would not have nearly as much exposure to deaf talent. To future NTID leaders, I say, be grateful for all that has been done to help us, be proud of everything we have accomplished together, and be inspired to keep pushing and to create even more opportunities for the deaf people of tomorrow. No matter what the culture is like, deaf people will always be around and we will always be united under one community.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you so much for coming to this gathering for the rededication today. The NTID Student Congress has a long and rich history that has helped provide leadership opportunities for many students who have gone on to become leaders in their own businesses and communities. My messages to the future leaders of NTID on behalf of myself and my Vice President, Alana Smith. We're seniors and we shall be graduating this May with our bachelor's degrees. When it's time to celebrate NTID's 100th anniversary, I will be about 75 years old and Alana will be 71. We both hope that at least one of us will be able to be alive to witness this celebration. We shall see. In our time here, we NTID students dealt with many changes, with many new buildings on campus, new clubs to add into our 300-plus club roster, scarce parking spots, as usual, technology evolving rapidly that can be tough to catch up with, and a new RIT logo. We miss the dots. Our advice we would love to give NTID students in the future is to prioritize self-care. Appreciate the little things. Time management is key. Balance your involvement with clubs, organizations, and your education. Alana and I suggest you get involved on campus. It can be RIT Student Government or NTID Student Congress, clubs, organizations, study abroad, jobs on campus. There are so many opportunities. We also suggest exploring the city of Rochester. There are many things to do and many places to go. NTID's rich history and many generations of students who have attended NTID and RIT over the 50 years of its tenure. There are many stories to tell. Alana and I are proud to be part of those stories and can't wait to see the future you will write. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Taylor and Bobby, for your leadership and giving all of us the clearest understanding of why NTID came into being. Bobby recently received RIT's prestigious Bruce R. James Distinguished Public Service Award. Congratulations. And Taylor brings in students of tomorrow through her work in the NTID admissions office. I'd also like to thank our representative from the National Association for the Deaf being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Before we conclude, I'd like to offer a special thanks to our unparalleled NTID interpreters, Nicole Krause-Dickerson, Carolyn Kropp, and Gail Macias, who is on stage. We thank them for their work this morning, as well as our wonderful captionist, Heidi Thomas. Thank you all for being with us today and throughout the years as we have celebrated NTID's 50th anniversary. Alumni, please stand. We'd like to recognize you as well. Gary Beam, myself, Alyssa, Lynn. We were freshmen in 1974. We were witness to see this wonderful, inspiring building and community come to be. We all must pause together and rededicate ourselves to the dream that began NTID and continues today. After today's program, my wife Judy and I invite you to join us in a reception in the Dyer Arts Center. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. That concludes our program.